and welcome to another episode of Chit Chat and All That with me, Amanda Prowse.
And me, Penny Dommett. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Chit Chat Around the Table.
We can't say kitchen table anymore because we've moved to the island.
We have. And we stand and do a little bit of bar work.
Speak for yourself. I saw you working
a bit of Pilates.
Hips, a little bit of, like
doing,
ballet.
Yes, I'm just doing a few exercises whilst I'm standing here.
Little plie.
Yes.
Very nice.
Plie. Did you do ballet as a child?
You can tell I did.
No, I didn't. I wasn't allowed. I think it was because all the ballet, the pumps and the little tutus are all that beautiful pink, and it clashed with my hair.
That's probably the reason.
Can I please just say that is not me snorting?
Well, you say that, Penny, but it's only
it's
me
definitely
here to,
not me snorting.
No, that's Bo.
Little
She's come to say
French
hello.
dog, go away.
Oh, don't listen to her, Bosie. You don't have to go.
Go
Anyway,
away.
have you had a lovely week?
I have had an interesting week. Haven't done much ballet.
Oh.
Need to put that right for sure. I've had a bit of a week. It feels like sometimes, do you ever feel you're existing in an admin vortex?
No, because I try and avoid all admin at all times. I had a very embarrassing thing happen to me this week. As you know, I live in welly boots at the moment. And
At the moment?
Well, true. Everything is so muddy that every time I leave the house, I have to be in wellies to go up the garden, out into the field, to the greenhouse, wherever I'm going. Welly boots.
You're like Felicity Kendall.
Yes. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely to look like Felicity Kendall?
You do look a bit like Felicity Kendall.
Do I?
Yeah.
No.
You're the
I tell you,
type.
I tell you, everybody, they go, oh my God, has anyone ever told you you look just like the girl in Carshare with Peter Kay?
You do.
Do I?
Yeah, but yes.
But she's wonderful. Can't remember her name.
Oh, you see? That's what you look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you do. You do look
Anyway.
great. Yeah, she could be, your twin.
Yeah.
Not your twin, sister.
All the time I'm in welly boots, and then when you come back into the house from having been up a muddy field, you straight away, I'm doing the actions
I
here.
can see.
You straight away you open the door, then you turn around and you go in backwards because you have to take your wellies off on the doorstep.
Gotcha.
Went to see a client this week. Hello, Mrs. Smith. Hello.
Not
come on
real
in,
name.
She said, come on in. So, of course, what do? I turn around backwards and realise I haven't got any Wellingtons on. I think she thought, what is she doing?
Did you say, I like to just get a sense of the direction that we're facing? It's a feng shui thing to do with your garden. I'm just going to twirl a couple of times. I wanted to do ballet as a child, but I wasn't allowed because the pink ballet shoes would have clashed with my hair.
Yes.
She'd have understood.
Yes. So, anyway, but it is sunny today,
Lovely.
so I'm not moaning.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is, makes
And
a nice change.
Oh, what a difference it makes to your mood, Pen, honestly.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
For me, especially. I mean, I don't suffer with seasonal affective disorder.
No.
But I sort of can understand.
I think we all do a bit.
Yes. Don't you think this greyness just gets you down?
It is, and it's not even the rain, it's the grey, isn't it? It's really like, ugh, I know, awful. But yeah, this week, I like you, put off admin till I absolutely can't put it off anymore. I hate it. There's something about filling out a form that makes me want to cry.
Now, it sort of depends with me. If it's a proper form, like a paper form, I quite like filling out forms.
Oh, you see, that's your, because you love writing and list making and ticking.
Yes. But I wouldn't like to do it on a computer.
No, no, that scares me even more. But anything to do with the form, and instantly I just become a complete dum-dum. I don't know my date of birth. I don't know, where do I put this? Is that the right box? Am I doing the right things? I just feel completely overwhelmed by it. And for years, I was one of those terrible, I don't know how to describe it, I used to not open mail. For fear,
Really?
and it's the worst thing, for fear of it saying, fill out this form, or attach the coupon, or I just literally found it paralysing. And it's a very simple thing to do, and people that do it with ease and don't give it a second thought don't understand it. They go, what do you mean it's just filling out a form? For some reason I see it and and every time I write a book, my publisher asks me to fill out a very, very detailed questionnaire, which is actually great for them because it's things like, is there anything we should not give away as a spoiler, for example, when we're describing the book? So it could be, yes, the fact that, Great Aunt Fanny is actually her second cousin twice removed, don't mention that, or whatever. Or don't ever say that, blah, blah, dies in chapter 3, whatever. You need to keep those for your readers fresh and exciting as a reveal. So it's really, really good. And do you have any ideas for the cover and that kind of thing? But I get this form through, it's electronic, and it is probably, 10 pages. And it's like, include an excerpt and sign here and give it, and I feel my heart rate, even talking about it, I can feel my heart rate. So Simeon has to help me with it, which is marvellous. He sits next to me and we never row when we're doing it, never. Not once, Pen. Not once, more than 10 times, yes, not once. But I have to say, if you could just put this and do that, because he has to physically fill it out for me.
I can't, you see, I do like answering questions. I
Do you?
Yes, I really do.
Are you sure?
I do like answering questions.
What questions do you like answering?
For example, when you are asked surveys. I love doing a survey.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, I do. I like doing a survey.
So when it says, would you like to take a survey?
Yeah,
You say
I always
yes.
say yes. If I've got time. I really like doing a survey. I really do like it. Although I would say timing for these companies that ask you to do a survey is all. Because this week I've had a really annoying thing happen.
You didn't see some daffodils planted in a straight line, did you, Pen?
I've seen lots of those this week, blimey. But it, obviously I'm buying up lots of things at the moment. Seeds, dahlia tubers. Did a very good Instagram post about dahlia tubers if anybody's thinking of buying some tubers to get ready for
Where'd you get
the
them from?
summer.
Just off track a minute.
I mean, I get mine in sort of larger quantities, so I get them from wholesaler. But Peter Nysen, Nyssen online, fantastic dahlia tubers. Also, if you wait a couple of weeks, dahlia tubers will be going in the sale in a lot of the garden centres. There's nothing wrong with them. As long as when you feel them in the bag, they're not squishy.
Right.
Then definitely. But have a look at the Instagram post.
I have a question.
Yes.
I know you like questions.
Yes.
If I plant dahlia tubers now...
You can't plant them now.
Oh.
That's the problem. You have to buy your dahlia tubers now, and then you have to protect them. So you get them out of the bag, you put them into some compost in a pot, and you keep them somewhere frost free. So you could buy them now, but you need to be putting them in a spare bedroom or your garage or somewhere like that. You wait until they start to sprout, and then when they start to sprout, you can give them a bit of water. And then you keep them frost-free until about end of May. So
Sweet Lord!
Yes, exactly. It takes a while.
It's a commitment, isn't it, Pen?
You can buy them in at the end of May, already sprouted as a plant, if you want to.
And they will grow into dahlias this
Yes,
summer?
and you can put them outside. Any chance of frost is gone, you can put them outside.
Can I plant them then?
Yeah, plant them into pots. All fine.
Okay.
But if you want to,
I'm going to do that, Pen, to be honest.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's probably about 3 times the price to buy them as a plant.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
So that's the thing. If you buy tubers now, and that's why when I dig mine up in the autumn, I leave them as a great big clump, and I'm starting to split mine. So from one clump, I might make 10 different tubers.
Incredible.
So that's a really cheap way of being able to have lots and lots of lovely flowers in your garden.
Yeah, love that.
Anyway, where were we going?
You were saying that
so
you had an annoying thing.
I ordered some tubers from a company that shall remain nameless. And when they arrived, I was really disappointed. They were all shriveled. The necks were broken. They're basically not viable.
Oh.
So I whipped them off an email quickly and said, oh, really sorry, but, they're really bad quality. And I get this email back, could you please send us photographs of every single one?
Oh, you're joking.
I haven't got time.
No, I hate that. They make it hard, don't they?
So I thought, we're not talking about £100 here. We're talking probably about £4.50.
Yeah.
And then, so I thought, well, I'm not going to bother doing that, but I'll just never buy from them again.
Yeah.
They've just lost a customer.
Yeah.
But then foolishly, this morning, check my emails from that company. Please take time to fill out this survey so that other customers can see how good our service is. And I thought, oh, watch me.
Yeah.
Do. And I mean, how stupid is that?
Do you know, Simeon and I were having a similar discussion this week, because as you know, I spend now 85% of my life on a train.
Yes.
I now know all the guards by personal name. Yeah, all right, mate. Big shout out to Steve and Gary and Jane, who's probably doing a biscuit and coffee run down the aisle about now.
See, I'm thinking, oh my God, how lovely to be able to go on a train.
It's so lovely. It's just like, have you ever seen the Orient Express?
Yes.
It's exactly like that. I walk in, someone takes my bag and stows it for me.
And
I
there's
sit
linen.
Oh, Penny, it's dripping with linen and beautiful drapes with little tassels on. And someone brings me a cup of tea in a little china cup and saucer.
Aww.
And it's just a delight. There's music playing, often a murder further down in the carriage, but I just stay away from those and let the chap with the moustache deal with it. Yes, no, it's marvellous. Yeah, it's not like that at all, obviously. It is sticky, grubby, and they have the heating on when it's already hot, and everyone's sneezing and sniffing and, snuffling and spitting and farting, and it's just vile, and you're all in this little, in this sort of cattle carriage just being shunted along, and there's always a delay. Always. I mean, the service, I don't know how they make any money. Maybe they don't. That's probably showing my ignorance. But so I travel predominantly on GWR. I'm not shaming them. I'm just naming them. Yeah. But I travel predominantly on GWR from Bristol Parkway to London Paddington. That is my route of choice. And I would say that maybe 75% of the time, 76, and you know I'm not good with numbers.
Yes.
76% of the time, I have a claim for compensation. Because if you are 15 minutes delayed, you get, a tiny percentage back. If you are 50 minutes delayed, if you're over an hour, all the rest of it. So your compensation is like a sliding scale depending on how far delayed you are. And literally, I would say a couple of times I've had all my fare back. But most of the time, I get a chunk of it back because it's delayed. So even just came home yesterday, and it was a 50-minute delay once you're on the train. So we're on the train and we're crawling along, and it's all the time.
But what do they tell you why?
It varies. It can be a million things. And sometimes, I mean, there was an incident a couple of Sundays ago when I was travelling back to London, and it said there was a trespasser on the track. So I thought, oh, that sounds sad and ominous. And it actually wasn't. It was just someone who had walked over the track and someone had seen him and reported him, and that was it. And we just sat there for an hour and 20 minutes because obviously you can't willingly go if you know there's someone around. But it's just a nightmare. And no one gets a seat anymore. You think if you're booking a seat, it's like, oh, marvellous, J3, I'll see you there. But no, it doesn't work like that. We sometimes frequently have 2 or 3 worth of trains packed into one, and there's no seat reservations, and you're just hemmed in.
How come we get it so wrong and other European countries get it so right?
I think maybe, I don't know is the truthful answer, but it could be a lack of investment. I think our railways have always suffered through lack of investment. I think there's a certain apathy for the people. I mean, some of the people who are working on those trains, they are receiving so much flack on a daily basis because everyone's angry, everyone's missing a meeting, everyone's got to be somewhere. And you see they're doing their darndest. They work really hard and
yet they want us not to take cars individually, but you've got to give people an option.
You have. I mean, I'm a massive fan of buses, as you know. So when I'm in London, I use buses. They're like buses, but a bit more shushy. They're quiet. I use buses all the time. In fact, getting to Paddington from where we live, I just jump on, and it's a 24-hour service. There's one, and it's also modern now compared to when I used to get the bus back in the day. And literally, it says there's one in 1 minute, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and they're so frequent. So you're very lucky if you live in an arterial, main city. Buses are the answer. They're fantastic. But obviously, when we're out here in the mid-sticks, in the middle of nowhere, I could go into Bristol on a Monday. I can't come back till the following Thursday.
Well, I mean, joking aside, elderly neighbours need to go to the BRI or Southmead for hospital appointments, and she sweetly said, "Oh, I can go by bus.
Oh, bless.
I can go by bus. I can leave the car in Thornbury and catch a bus." I mean, by the time it's gone all the way around the houses and she's had to change, it takes about 4 hours. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It is really. I mean, I think, buses are the answer for me. I do love them. But it is just luck of the draw where you live, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. I don't think rurally it's quite such a good option.
I suppose there's no money in it, is that right?
I don't know.
But also they're the people that need it most, aren't they? Because there's no other options.
Yeah. But yeah, the idea of being on a train, for me, because I don't go on trains very often, but for you, it must be very annoying.
We've got a little bit of a train gang now.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Do you all catch the train at the same time then?
Well, weirdly, on a Sunday night, the return to London, there's probably about 4 or 5 of us. So the first week I was obviously nosying, having a little look at everyone. Oh, I wonder where she's going. She's got a very small bag, which means she hasn't been here long, or, doing my Little Miss Marple. This is my second Little Miss Marple reference today. Yeah. But yeah, having a good old look at what everyone was doing. Second week, it was like, all right, because we were here last week. Third week, I hope it's better than last week, because we're regulars. We're in the gang.
Yes.
And now we're just like, we're quite friendly, quite chatty. It's nice.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't say friends. I'd say train acquaintances. I wouldn't offer them a mint, but I might say, how's your week been?
It's very difficult. I mean, how friendly does one get in a public place?
Do you know?
There's got to be rules.
There are rules, Pen.
Yeah.
But when I used to do a regular commute from where I lived in London into central London where I worked, I used to know everyone on my bus and my train, and we would all chat.
Really?
And it was great. In fact, I should write about that one day. You should give me an idea for a book. Very
Yes.
good. But there was a very sort of varied and unusual group of people from all different walks of life. But one thing we had in connection was we all used to get this 7:15 in the morning.
Yeah,
And
there is a book, isn't there?
it probably is.
The 6:40 from
Oh.
somebody or something.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, but weirdly, wasn't that much. I seem to remember vaguely it wasn't that much about the people on the bus. Anyway.
Don't know. We have been joined by another dog, so
Yeah,
apologies.
it's not
again.
me.
I'm so sorry. I don't know how we get. I don't know what we do.
This is
about
so
the dogs.
professional. It took us about 20 minutes to figure out which hole to stick the cable in.
I've got an idea.
Then it took us about 6 minutes to figure out how loud we were.
See, I wasn't going to admit to that because I can't bear saying, without someone here to help us with the tech, we struggled. But we did struggle, didn't we?
Well, and now we have additional noises in the background.
Yeah, but they were here first, and it
True.
is their home.
As I'm going off on noise tangent,
Yes.
slightly, this is a bit of a loose segue, I have to say. I need to recommend an app to you.
That's not like you.
No, I need to recommend an app. Somebody, the lovely Alex, recommended it to me. It's called the Merlin Bird App. Have you come across it?
I haven't.
As you know, I love a walk in the woods.
You do?
I do a lot of countryside walking.
You do.
Also in the garden. Lots of birds at the moment. They're all being very noisy, getting all sexy.
Are they?
Ready for their
Sexy birds.
Sexy birds getting ready for their nesting.
I've seen them sprucing themselves up, getting their, little wings, maybe.
Perhaps that's another game. Perhaps not only angry birds, we could have sexy birds.
I think you're playing that on your own, Pen.
Okay.
Gotta be honest.
I think that's a bit of a euphemism going on there. How do you know that I like playing on my own? You rude girl. Anyway, we digress.
We do.
Merlin Bird App. So I downloaded this app. It's completely free. Was up in the woods and I thought, oh, that's a bird I've never heard before. I wonder what that can be. I'm going to try this new app. And you press record and I thought this will never work in a million years. And lo and behold, it went thrush, song thrush. And then it tells you what it sounds like, tells you the call, tells you if it's happy or sad. I mean, it's
amazing.
wonderful. It was absolutely amazing. And then it went European chaffinch, European robin, wren. It was just lovely. All these different birds.
How wonderful.
Yes.
I get that.
I was very excited.
I still haven't figured out how to download the one that tells me what stars I'm looking at.
Oh my gosh,
Isn't
did
it
you
beautiful?
see it? Did
Well,
you see it?
Again, without wanting to sound like, in London there are no stars. Very few. But I came home last night and literally looked up and it was like, wow.
Yeah,
What
last night was
privilege.
amazing. I mean, it is, 28th February, supposedly. You could see them all in a line. All in a line. It was
Did you want
magnificent.
them more clumpy?
No, I was
You were happy
really,
with the line?
No, I was happy with the... Oh, yes, I'm with you. No, I was actually happy with the line. Stars can be in alignment.
I see. So you don't mind that?
See, don't mind that. Because that's what nature gives us. It's not like we've manipulated them into a line.
Gotcha, Pen.
Yes, you
Yeah,
see.
I see.
But it was incredible. It was incredible. And being able to look up and see them so clearly. We followed one home. I felt like Jesus.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
In fact, my granddad, when I was little, he was so lovely. He was just so smart. He just kind of knew how to make me feel incredibly safe and incredibly special. And God, I really miss him even now. Even though I'm old, missed out, I really miss him. And he used to say, "You see that star there?" I'd be like, "Yeah, it's the North Star. If you look out of your window, you'll see it, and I'll be looking at it too, and blah blah blah." And whenever you look at it, I'm thinking about you, and it just all my life I look at it and I know he's thinking about me, and it's lovely.
That is lovely.
Yeah, don't make me cry today, Penny.
That is how...
I have nothing spare.
That is how it moulds us to be grandparents.
Yeah.
I think one way or another. Either the fact that I didn't have grandparents really, and so I knew how I wanted to be.
You're
I knew
the best,
how I.
Granny. You're the best.
Yes. Well, I like to think. Do you know what's really sad? Is Wilde can say grandpa so beautifully now, and he still can't say granny, and it comes out, and you can see why the name nanny became popular, because they can say nanny, they cannot say granny.
Yeah, I
can
know
say
that.
grandpa.
Yeah.
Cannot say.
I
so-
only have read nans.
Yeah,
Me nan.
but it comes out as nene,
Oh.
and I go no granny, granny.
You keep pushing, Pen.
I am going to keep pushing. The speech therapy classes are coming on a treat.
It's so funny. Simeon and I, we keep saying, because obviously Josh and Sarah are getting married this year, and it's that awful thing. The last thing you want to do in the world is apply any pressure to your kids.
You are not mentioning
No,
that to
not
them.
to them.
They're not even married yet.
Not that makes a difference, Pen.
No,
You can
that's
still,
Yeah.
Newsflash. But yeah, I don't want to in any way apply any pressure to them. Of course I don't. They may choose not to have kids, and that's fine. They can do whatever they want. I just want them to be wonderful and happy and enjoy this incredibly short and fleeting time that we have on the earth. But Samir and I secretly and privately, you see I'm whispering. I'm whispering.
As if this isn't going out to
I know,
anyone.
exactly. Josh and Sarah, switch off now. We keep sort of having this private discussion. I wonder if Ben and Kate might have a baby. I wonder if Josh and Sarah might have a baby. And literally, just having that discussion as we were walking home a couple of nights ago, I felt my excitement level go from the base of my stomach all the way up to my throat. And I thought, it would be the most marvellous thing in the world.
It can also be, I'm very lucky, but I know a lot of my friends have found it a very stressful
Have they?
situation.
In what
Yeah.
way, Pam?
Because however much...
Having to knit.
No, however much you get on with your family, children and bringing up children can be a very divisive thing.
Yeah.
And things are very different now.
Do you mean because they don't do it how you did it or would do it?
Or perhaps you might not agree with how they do it.
Yeah.
And some people don't want to have outside influence on their children. It just makes me very grateful because, we have a wonderful time looking after both Monty and Wild, and it's a joy.
Yeah.
But I think we need to recognise that it's not always like that.
Yeah, it's like anything, isn't it? I write a lot about dysfunctional families, and they're not families who have had a huge, catastrophic incident that has meant vast fallout. They're families that actually just often don't choose to spend a lot of time together, and that's quite normal. And you are drawn to certain members of your family who you maybe see more of because it's geographically easier. It's just life, isn't it? And there isn't this, this sort of Kellogg's 2.4, perfect kids all sitting around. It doesn't exist. So I think we do sort of romanticise and fantasise about it a bit.
And you wouldn't want to make people feel like life has failed them if it doesn't work in a certain way.
And also, one thing I have absolutely learned, I was a single mum, as you know, for a very long time. And one thing I've learned is that families are, sounds so cliche, but there are so many different shapes and sizes of families. And I have lots of friends who have chosen their family. Their friends are their family. You're my family.
Yeah.
You're my family. And it's, you choose, we're at that point now in our evolution where we can say, well, I choose to have this person in my life every day, and maybe not that one. The fact that you share blood is neither here nor there.
No, exactly.
I'm lucky. I adore my brothers. I adore everyone. My sister-in-law, all of it. I just feel very lucky. But I'm also very, very aware that it's a fragile thing.
Well, and I think as well, in this day and age, it's not as if family is that local to you.
No.
They used to be, didn't they?
Oh, God,
they all used to live nearby, and you had that continual support.
Yeah.
Whereas it's hard. It's hard for
It
kids
is hard
these days.
especially when you have a baby, or you're pregnant and you don't have that level of
No.
support. Funny enough, I was showing Simeon on a map the other day. We were looking at tube maps. I'm trying to refresh myself because obviously in the decades since I've been in London, things have changed quite a lot. There are new tube lines. We've got the Elizabeth line, and there's lots more stops and things and new developments, and it's constantly catching up. And I'm sort of having to get back into the way of of understanding it. And I was showing Simeon some roads in East London, and I said, that's where my great nan lived, and that's where my nan lived, and that's where my great aunt lived, and that's where my cousins lived,
Yeah.
and that's what. And it's like
Within,
6 roads.
yeah.
And he went, oh my God. I was like, yeah, there. I was telling him the numbers and all the houses and how they used to nip in and out.
Yeah.
And aunties used to have gates in the door, so in the back fence, so they could nip in and see my nan. And it was all it was just a sort of communal way of living. But it meant everything was okay, because if you didn't have enough money to feed your kids that night, someone else was making stew and dumplings and they could feed them. If you weren't able because you were ill or whatever, not that they were ever ill in a time or couldn't afford to be ill, but if you were ill, someone else would wash your bed linen. It was that kind of collaborative, supported way of life, which is so beautiful.
And I mean, we're again lucky in the country quite often to have farming communities, and quite often within farming families they tend to stay close by because they'll continue on the farm work normally, although things are changing. But I still know a lot of people whose children live just down the road because they have to be close to the farm.
I think rural life can also be lonely.
Oh, very, especially farming.
I think it can be very lonely. I mean, at least this week I've had bouts of loneliness because I've been on my own, during the day and stuff. And I've gone and sat in a coffee shop, and I've chatted to the lady who's made my coffee, and I've had a little chat with the woman on the bus, and that's how I get over it. It's good for me to do that. But not everyone's comfortable having those conversations, and I can imagine. I thought, gosh, this could be quite lonely.
I was talking to somebody this week about the fact that I don't shop very much, as you know.
No.
It's
the one thing we have in common.
Yeah, I know it's bad. Because all those independent shops are not going to survive if people think like me. They're not. And I've fallen foul to the Amazon, and I think it's an incredible service. It arrives the very next day. It's immediate. And I do my online shopping, food shopping mostly. Except for my butcher, my dairy, and all my fruit and veg. But I found myself, I had to go into town to buy something, a birthday gift, and I went in, and I caught myself still doing the, 2 meters away from people thing.
Yeah.
I still do it. I just don't like standing next to people.
Yeah.
I am getting a bit reclusive.
Yeah, I think COVID, we've said it before, haven't we? It changed us, Pen. It changed society, obviously, but it changed us as individuals. And I think our sort of confidence level in engaging and going out. And we've said it, I know we've said it before, but I can only imagine what that must have been like for teenagers and little ones who are still catching up.
Yeah, definitely. And the knock-on effect of those kids now.
Yeah.
A lovely friend of mine, Liz, who works in a hospital, said that recently they've been having to start wearing masks again because of SARS.
I heard that, yeah.
And not that I really understand what that is either, but anyway. And she's been getting a lot of kickback from people not wanting to wear masks and saying, well, it never helped us last time, even though this is a completely different virus. And you feel like, these poor NHS people, they can't win, can they?
No.
I
do understand people's reticence, though. In fact, I had an interesting conversation. There was a woman with a mask on a bus. I'm talking about buses a lot today, and I pay.
Yeah.
There was a lady on the bus the other day. She had a mask on, and she said to me through her mask, we were chatting, and she said, "I've got a rotten cold," which I didn't want to give it to anyone. And I thought, oh, bless you.
Yeah.
She wasn't doing it to protect herself from me. She was doing it to protect me from her.
Oh.
And of course, that's often the case, isn't it?
That is amazing.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
There's lots of talk at the moment, isn't there? Bubbling about new viruses and all that sort of stuff. It's so scary. But
there's a lot of
kind of the world we live in, isn't it now?
Yeah, and people notice it more now. Whereas before, if people got colds at a certain time of year, they perhaps didn't even think of it. Now it's like, oh my God.
I've heard a lot of people saying, oh well, if we went to lockdown, I just wouldn't do it.
Yes, isn't that interesting? Would that happen again if another virus?
Would, do you?
I don't know. I don't know what the theory is on whether that was the right thing that we did or not.
I think it's still very debatable, and they've looked at countries that didn't lock down, places like Sweden. They've looked at those that locked down early, those that locked down later. And to be honest, it just...
Because New Zealand didn't let anyone in or out, did they? But they still had a very large
they did
number.
But the thing is, I think when you've kind of... And I mean this with the greatest respect, I'm not talking about us, but when you got away with it lightly, because maybe you were a place with a small population or you had a low infection rate, whatever, it is hard to understand. But when you look at what happened in places like South America, Brazil,
and
Peru,
Italy.
I mean, literally, it's just, you see those graveyards and you think, oh, that visual representation of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, and you think, that is just...
I wonder if there's somewhere a list of things that would have been the perfect thing to do.
You think maybe they might have modelled it since, now we've got the actual information and data. I don't know, Pen, they must have done. I, every day, walk past the COVID wall along the embankment at outside St Thomas's. It's like the outer...
Tell me, I don't know what this is.
It's beautiful. It's strangely enough, I knew it was there, and it's
when are you going to invite me to come up?
Oh, as soon as I've got a bed. We're still we're waiting on delivery of a bed and a sofa.
Oh,
so as soon as you, Simeon, and I don't have to share a beanbag, and I've got more than one mug, get yourself down. I can't wait, Pen. We'll record there.
Yes.
We'll have a lovely time. Yeah, we can have a lovely time. Or just make out we're recording to have a lovely time anyway. Go to a show.
But you're not to leave me. I'll be too frightened.
See if I'd leave you. I'm going to, those reins that kids have.
Yeah, I need those.
Around the wrist. I'm going to tether you to me, obviously. Well, I'll be able to spot your pen. You'll be the only one in a bloody shuffle. True that.
Are you dissing my shuffle?
No, of course not, Penny. That little country uniform. I love it. No, it'd be lovely. What were we talking about?
The COVID wall.
So there's a COVID wall, and I'd heard about it and I'd seen it on Instagram and stuff. I didn't really know what it was, and I now walk that way every day to get in and out of town, or just for a nice walk to get my steps up, which I'm still doing. You'd be pleased to hear.
Good.
And essentially, it's a wall. I want to say it's a mile long. I'm making that up. I don't know. 2 miles, 1 mile. I don't know. You know me in distances. And it's covered in painted red hearts, and you write the name of someone that died during COVID, or you lost during COVID, or has died as a result of COVID, or whatever. You write their name, and I walked down the steps to get down onto the embankment. As I say, literally just opposite Big Ben, front of St Thomas's and Guy's. And I said, oh, look at that, and it was like, my gran and her name and the date she died. And I thought, that's beautiful. And then I kept walking, and there was just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these hearts and these names. And I found it so moving. I found it really emotional. And by the time I got to the end, I was like, that's every one of those is a family. Is a nan, a mum, a dad, a brother, a sister, a daughter, a child. It absolutely killed me. And I keep, every time I walk past, it sounds terrible, I almost can't look at it. I look the other way unless I'm feeling resilient, because I know I'm just going to cry. It's really affecting.
I think it's got to have been one of the worst things was not being able to be with people that were dying.
I can't imagine.
I mean, I'm not comparing. It was bad enough. We lost 3 dogs during COVID, and the first 2, literally, you had to hand them over and walk away, and that was hard enough. But then it puts into perspective how horrendous it must have been.
I mean, if your loved ones are in care homes, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, and I don't want to get political because I could talk about that all day, but I think I have. One of my favourite stories from COVID, and is, God, we're running out of time, Pen, to speak quick, is I used to drive my mum and dad's food. I used to get a delivery made here, take the food in, wash it all, do that sort of stuff, load up a box, drive to their house, put the box outside their door, knock and run away, like knock down Ginger. Luckily I had all that practice as a kid, knocking and running. And they'd come out and get it, and I sort of waved to them from the car, which was heartbreaking because they just wanted to hug me and get me in for a cuppa, and it was like, I can't do that. But it's how they got their food, because obviously they were old and there was a lot going on. My dad was very ill at the time. And I was driving along one of the lanes that goes along the River Severn, and there was a funeral car. What was it? What's the word for a funeral car? Hearse. A hearse in front of me with a wicker coffin with a beautiful floral display on the top. And there was no other car, no supporting vehicle, no other people, just the driver, another man in the passenger seat, and this wicker coffin with this blue and white arrangement of flowers on the top. And I was driving behind it, and I thought, that's someone's loved one. Yeah. And I was following this vehicle, and the clouds opened up, and this ray of sunshine came down. Oh. This single ray, and hit this vehicle. And I thought, I would love to film it. I would love to take a photograph.
And be able to show the person.
Whoever you are, whoever your family is, whoever has lost that person, I want you to know that on this day, as that body, that person, was being driven to Canford.
Yeah.
Is it a crematorium, isn't it? Canford Lane in Westbury-on-Trim. I wanted them to know that it was the most beautiful journey you could have possibly imagined. The sun was hitting the water.
Yeah.
The air was still. It was absolutely beautiful. And I wished I could have told them.
Yeah. And, you know, you had to hang on to those little things, didn't you? It was those tiny things. And for me, it was being out in amongst the flowers in the field. That, for me, just gave you a bit of solace, really.
Oh, God, I bet. How lucky.
Yeah, I know. Very lucky. Very lucky.
Right, my darling. Well, I hope that today we have staved off loneliness for at least someone. I hope that someone has felt that we are their family today. Because that's the point of this, right?
Always.
Always.
Yeah.
We've come to the end of another lovely episode. Thank you so much for listening and for being with us. You can, of course, listen to all previous episodes from wherever you get your listening. And you can send us a message via...
@the Chit Chatters.
Oh, Pen. I've given up trying to learn it.
It's honestly, we've been getting some really funny messages. Thank you so much to people who do.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah, and we're very grateful for everyone that listens. Tell your friends, give us a like, follow. You know by now. Until next time, take care.
Bye-bye.